My ex-girl still on her bullshit. Ask who I cool with, that's foolish. Tryna cop the Beamer before I turn legal. Twist lethal, hit loud in public like it's legal. Tired of hungry nights in the crib alone. I gotta put on my dogs, gotta eat more than a bone. Bars turned the city upside down, flows dyslexic, shit is real. We obliged to get hectic. My city more proud of the Yankees in 09. I'll cheat her gone if I stop rapping.
Hey, it's your boy Bobby.
And it's your boy Mo.
Welcome back to the Real Ones Show podcast.
Hey, we did it. Oh, you said podcast. I was about to say we rhymed again, but you continued talking. I thought you were going to say welcome back to the Real Ones Show. I'm like, oh, we rhymed again.
Oh, nah.
Not as coincidental this time. That's cool. We did it late the last time. So.
Show canceled now.
Right? But this is the show where real dudes with real issues.
My nigga, why do you pause it?
Right? Why do you pause? Talk about real people with real issues. All right, let's get
real dudes. Real people.
All right, so let's get into it.
Real people talk about real opinions and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, all the reals.
So, I was telling this story to Maurice.
All the reels.
All the reels? Is that another show name?
We can definitely call it all the reels.
But we already did it in the last two episodes of the real show. I mean, we can record over it.
No. I'm just saying, like.
Okay, listen, we'll do a poll.
All the reels. Fuck it. Let's get it.
All the reels?
No, I mean, whatever. Just, let's go along.
Right. So, I was talking to Maurice, and we're going to be talking about the story that recently came up.
Because I haven't heard about this. What is this about now?
Okay, so this story came around September 19th. And it's it's a story that a lot of people have picked up, but I'm choosing the New York Post to kind of like reference it. And it says sex podcast hosts face backlash for racist comments. And so apparently these two white women have a sex podcast, and I haven't heard much of it.
So they talk all about sex, but you were beefing about. Nah, go ahead. I'm fucking with you. Do your thing.
So Corinne Fisher. Wow, that's crazy. The name.
Correct. You read.
And Krystyna Hutchinson. Wow, that's a real name. Krystyna Hutchinson.
That's Krystyna, though. You did a lot.
Krystyna? Mm-hmm. Listen, I've never seen a Krystyna.
Her name is spelled black as hell. Right? So for this situation, her name is spelled too black.
That's already strike one.
Strike one, your name is too black for you to be condoning this shit.
All right. So they had this podcast, and they were talking about the guys they fucked. And apparently...
putting it pretty bluntly.
Corinne, yeah. Sex podcasts are pretty lit.
Do your thing.
You should hear.
Do your thing.
So they're talking about guys they fucked, and Corinne was talking about the second black guy she ever fucked. Mm-hmm. And it's cool, it's whatever. But she's talking to the guy as if it was like, how you say, a quote unquote, and I'm doing air quotes.
Y'all can see them.
But this was like a real black guy, like basketball player height, deep voice, lives uptown, black guy. And then what and then Fisher says he doesn't act black enough. So it's kind of like an interesting point that I wanted to bring up to you. And it's kind of like tying into like, what do you think about fetishizing race?
So you mean like making a race like a priority in terms of your your sexual attraction?
Sexual preference.
Like just solely race? Right. Like in this situation, let me
finish what she said before you go on.
Yeah, because I feel like it's gonna get worse.
So like she goes on to say, well, I just mean like act more thug. And she's like, I don't like black people who act like white people. And they go on to make more comments like, he's got that hood swag. I love it. I'm taking these quotes from the New York Post. And a lot of people got called out. A lot of people called them out like, yo, this is mad fucking racist. So I want to know. Okay, so first off, like, what do you think of this story?
Okay. In terms of it being classified as racist, she's clearly attracted to black people sexually. So I don't think... So you don't think it's racist? I think she definitely is, I would say more than anything, like... prejudice to some extent, because she's assuming that in order for you to be a real black person, you have to be, at least one of them is assuming that you'd have to be a ball player, extra tall, whatever else. No, but the other one saying in order for you to be a real black person, you have to be a thug.
You have to be a thug.
And then proceeds afterward to say a hood dude. You could have said the hood dude part first and not even mention it being a real black dude, because not all real black men are hood niggas.
Yeah, what is the concept of a real black dude?
There's
especially coming from two white chicks, you know.
No, I mean, even if they weren't.
Well, I know.
But it's like, what is a real black dude? Like, it would just in this situation, like, what? It makes no sense for you to say a real black dude is a quote unquote hood nigga.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she didn't quote hood nigga. Don't. So I mean, let me not say.
Whoa, she did not say nigga.
Quote hood, and then my part nigga, or a basketball player. Like, not all of us play basketball. And that doesn't make us any less black than the next person. Mm. So I don't understand what that, like, that whole thing came from. But now when you're mentioning like fetishizing race in terms of like people just only exclusively dating a certain race for the simple fact that they're that race and for nothing else, it's a little strange to me. Yeah. But I mean, It kind of bends the lines of preferences a little bit to where
whereas
it's like what exactly
does a preference become a little racist or prejudice?
Yeah, it becomes a little prejudice. Like, it's from thinking about it, is like, okay, so you only date a black guy because he's black and nothing else.
The funny part is
not because he treats you a certain way or whatever it is. It's just for the simple fact that he's black. So what does him mean? Like, the thing is,
we've met people like that in college where
I mean, people and it's crazy because those people, like, they just couldn't get sexually attracted to any other race for whatever reason, and there wasn't anything unique about
it. Was just because of race.
Well, yeah, because even then you can't even say skin tone, because skin tone is shared with different races. Yeah, like a lot of Indians have darker complexions than black people. So why can you not be attracted to an Indian? Yeah, you know, a lot of Asians share the same skin tone as white people. So why can't you? In fact, some of them are even paler. You know, that's like a thing in a lot of countries for them to be even pale. So it's like why not an Asian? You know, it's like what just because they're a particular, and then diving into this crazy, because there are those dudes, like, now there's this big upsurge of this Asian fetishism. Oh yeah, the type white, going into that, like, not even just white, like, you mean like people across the board, like people who are just, I don't know if it's the anime culture that's doing it.
I think it is. It's more like Oriental, like, love, you know, of like heritage and.
But you can love somebody's heritage and not care about their women. Like, I personally, I'm not really attracted to Asian women, like their appearance, not the race, just their appearance. But I mess with Japanese culture, like anime, the video games, the samurai culture. Like, I mess with all of it. Like, it's dope. But I don't really care much for their women. Like, why does it have to why do I have to go all the way into the culture? Like, I don't have to care about none of that extra. Like,
for me, it's more of just, I'm a male and women are women.
Yeah, women are women. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'll still clap if they look attractive to me. I'll still clap. I'm just saying, like, preferentially speaking, like, I'm not really attracted to their features. Right, their features, not the race.
Right, not the race in general.
A pretty chick is a pretty chick in any culture, any skin tone. But if I'm not attracted to certain features, like, on average, I'm just not, attracted. But there is this big upsurge of of Asian fetishism too. It's like, I only mess with Asian chicks. Like, but why? What's so unique to them you can't get anywhere else?
Do you think it's like a fantasization?
Like you mean
in whatever capacity.
Talking about fulfilling a fantasy. Yeah. Like, you're smashing what you watch.
Kind of. Is it smashing what you watch, or just getting.
So you like Naruto, like, so you want to smash an Asian chick with pink hair? You know what I mean?
That's cosplaying. I feel like that's different.
No, some of them actually have pink hair. Some dudes really want to smash a Sakura.
Well, I mean, there's people who are into punk girls, punk rock girls, and you know they have color hair.
Right. No, what I'm saying.
But I'm saying that in terms of fantasization, in terms of like being in that culture, different country, different.
But the only thing you're in that culture is the woman. Yeah. At the end of the day, you're still what you are.
Well, yeah.
But so you trying to be with a black dude, don't feel like, or you trying to be with a white dude, you trying to be with like, don't try to engross yourself in their culture. Be you. Just embrace theirs.
Embrace their
like
culture.
You trying to like embody that culture. You're lying to yourself. Like you're not that.
Right.
You can love it. You can enjoy being around it, but trying to be like it, like trying to change your entire like personality to fit that culture is like you're lying to who you were to begin with. Like I don't see, like if you like going into preferences, if you like their features, if you like their average features, then by all means.
Okay.
Get it in.
So the line, but if you're doing it, if it's just purely race driven,
if you're just purely driven by the race
or color,
not color. You some people. I mean,
some people are. Some people
like their certain tones. Yeah.
But even then, it's like like you meet people who's like only mess with like lighter black dudes or.
Hey, and you know what? If they do, then cold world for them missing out on whatever it is that you're offering. They weren't for
right,
you.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is like if that's the only thing,
there's the skin tone, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I started by saying it's strange, but people have weird things that they're attracted to. It is strange though that the only thing that you find appealing is the skin tone. It's like I can assure you, probably 9 times out of 10, if they smash somebody else with a different skin tone, it won't change the sexual result. Like if all it is that's changing is the skin tone, you're not going to enjoy it any less. Like put the same dude with 2 different skin tones, exact same features, exact same personality, exact same everything, and the only thing separating him is the skin tone, it's not going to change too much. Like if the only thing the skin tone changes is you approaching the person or you tolerating conversation or condoning conversation, then you do think about it, like they are missing out on just everything that makes that person them, because the only thing that's unique is the skin tone. Like that's not really much of a unique feature to gravitate towards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, so are many preferences. But then there's a difference between a preference and an obligation. Obligation is probably not the best word to use, but you get what I'm saying? Like you can prefer a certain type, but then excluding everybody else if they're not that type. I think that's kind of weird. Like the weirdness tends to, it becomes more like irritating. You know what I mean? Because like the only thing that you care about is the tone, nothing else. Like,
right. That's all I'm saying is because I've met a couple of people who was like, I only date blank.
Only
strictly exclusively,
nothing else.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never been.
Now the thing is,
never have too much understanding of the whole strict preferences. My preferences are not strict. They're very loose. Like I like what I like, but if somebody else fits the physical bill, like I don't care what your race is. Like,
okay, now is it the same type of prejudice if you only date within your own race?
Yeah, because more often than not, if you date within your own race, there's a lot of, not all the time, but more often than not, there's a lot of ignorance that comes with not wanting to understand the different race. Like you want to only date this time because I guess you were told for so long that dating this type of people is wrong because your culture forbids it. Like dating a white woman is wrong because they're people and like enslaved us and disrespected us for so long. But it's like, she don't care about none of that, and she respects me quite fine. So why should I not date her because of other people?
Right.
It ties into some shit that we were talking about on a few conversations when I was like, none of these people are paying your bills, so why does it matter? You know what I mean? Like right. At the end of the day, you should be able to freely venture out and find out about different. It's like when you're eating vegetables. right? Like a lot of, not even, they use vegetables because vegetables are so easy to hate. When a lot of people, they say they don't like a vegetable. Have you tried it? No. So how the hell do you hate it and you don't know what it tastes like? You can't
you want to be careful with that because some people will be like, well, how you know you're not gay? Did you try dick?
Because I don't find dick appealing. I have a dick. There's a difference. There's a difference. I have a dick.
I'm just saying, there's been people who said this to me. It's like, well, how you know you're not gay if you haven't tried dick? Well, it's like,
a lot of the women who are lesbians, they like cooch and titties. They fondle themselves all the time. They enjoy seeing that.
The amount of gay people I met that love.
Yeah, they enjoy seeing that. I don't enjoy seeing that. I'm cool with mine. I don't enjoy seeing so. I think that's the difference between me being straight and me being gay is I enjoy seeing mine. That's it. Like I don't care about nobody else's shit. Like mine is cool.
My dick is cool.
Yeah, my dick is cool.
The only dick I'm gay for is mine.
Yeah, my dick. Like I don't particularly need to see somebody else's dick bite.
So you think, if someone says I only date just because of like race or skin color, then there's like,
go into what I just said. If it comes from only dating that person exclusively initially and nothing else, then it's kind of weird. Like if you never had experience dating anybody else and then you just formulate that that's all that works for you, then it's like it's a lot of deep rooted ignorance that has been planted into you from a long time. If you've been brainwashed enough to only be attracted to one type of race just because you've never tried another race, and that's just how it is.
I think it also comes through, at least stemming from, it is a bit of racism that it stems through because growing up as...
It's a lot of ignorance, yeah.
No, yeah, a lot of ignorance because growing up as a Puerto Rican is like, there's always this, this stigmatization that like, oh...
Light skins versus dark skins?
Well, not even that. No. It's like, oh, don't date black people. Don't date,
Right, light skin versus dark skin because we're all the same, you're all the same Spanish. You're all speaking the same language.
It's like I remember solely in Puerto Rican in like Spanish cultures.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like morenas, which means black.
Yeah,
morenos.
Yeah,
don't date them because they're
bad people. Yeah. That stigma is carried out like in most cultures because the media already portrays us like in such a way. Like whenever the news is in the hood, they always portray it to be a black dude, even if it's mostly been a black dude. Like whenever there's other situations, they don't really highlight it. Like, oh, there's a white dude that did this in the hood. Like, yeah, white people live in the hood. Like they're white hood niggas. Yeah. Like they don't show any of that, Yeah. There's always, it's the black dude that did it. Oh, it's the, and because of that, in movies, we're only personified really as that type. You know what I mean? The gangsters, the hood niggas, like. So from the outside looking in, a lot of people, they see that and it's like, oh, this is how all black people are. I should probably avoid this. But when you actually talk to us, it's like, okay, we're not all actors in movies. We're not all from the hood. We all have different personalities and some of our personalities align with yours. Mm-hmm. You'd be surprised if you actually talk to us. So it does come with like a perception that they have from the media that they haven't tried to change by experiencing it themselves. They kind of just went with that. It's like, oh yeah, because the media says it, yeah, they're definitely this type. So they didn't leave that perception behind when they grew up. They kind of held on to that. So there is definitely a deep-rooted ignorance. A lot of the times people are just from areas that just don't have that type of race. If you're from just a white area, that's all you know. You know what I mean? You don't know black, you don't know Indian, you don't know Chinese, you don't know Japanese, you don't know any of that. You're just, that's all you know. So if that's all you know, you don't really know how to get out of it. You know what I mean? Experimenting is not really something that you're going to think about too often because you're already comfortable with an idea that, okay, this works for me, so I don't really need to experiment. Right. But at the end of the day, all of that comes with lack of experimentation. Like if you don't try something else, you're never going to know if you like it or not. Especially when it comes to race. Definitely. Appearances, you're gonna be attracted to your appearance or physical features. That's fine. Yeah. But when it comes to skin tone and race, I don't classify that as a physical feature. That's more an identity. Yeah. And if you don't, especially with how the media treats it now, they make them identities like light skin versus dark skin. Like they make it seem like it's an identity and not that we're both black. We're both still black. Even even though one's light skin, one's dark skin, we're still both black. They're hood light skin niggas, and they're very chill, posh, dark skin dudes. So they make it an identity. So their people's perception of us is like, oh, now I want light skin dudes because they're softer. It's like, who says? Oh, I like dark skin dudes because they're more thugs. Like, who says? There are light skinned dudes that are way more hood than dark skinned dudes, and vice versa when it comes to dark skinned dudes being chill and sweet and sympathetic. So it's because it's become an identity. If you're just attracted to a certain identity without knowing the person, then that's kind of where the weirdness comes into play. Right. Like physical features like ass, titties, all that good stuff. That's that's different. You like your ass, you like your titties because you get down to that.
So just to kind of.
Abs. Let me not leave out the ladies. If you fuck with the abs, the chest, yeah, that too.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
the dick print. Apparently, that's a new thing.
Oh, yeah, that's been a thing.
But I never know is that prevalent.
Listen, I'm a big dude, so none of this comes my way. So, although I've met one person that's like, oh yeah, I prefer bigger dudes. So I'm like,
a lot of chicks. It's a lot of chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially bigger chicks. Like I think it's a comfort thing.
I think it's bigger chicks that want skinnier dudes.
Yeah, no, there's some big chicks that want skinny dudes, but like more big chicks, like people tend to drift towards their comfort. Like if you're bigger, they feel more comfortable with a bigger person.
Yeah.
Remember one of our homegirls was like, she doesn't want anybody skinnier because she would feel like she's breaking them. She does. I guess she doesn't understand how bones work, but she.
I don't want to feel like I'm breaking them.
Yeah, that's what her perception was. So, there's women who think like that. So, that's a thing.
So, basically, they got called out. And to, again, in perspective, this clip was back from 2014.
Okay.
So, there are people not defending it, but saying like, well, back then, it was a lot of like shock culture. It was like they try to get views based on
back then. When did this happen?
Well, again, 2014, so it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, that's a good time. 4 years is still a good time.
4 years is a good time, and a lot of things have changed in 4 years.
And now's when it's resurging.
Yeah.
So they're giving them some clout. That's what's up.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And no matter what happens, like nowadays, publicity is publicity. Yeah. No matter if it's negative or positive.
Yeah. They're gonna be the people who don't fuck with you, but there's gonna be the big majority who do.
Right.
You're gonna bring out the lovers out of the few haters. Yeah. So there's free clout.
Well, I think this is more of a. I haven't seen too much support, but a lot of people will probably say like, "Well, this is back in 2014, so I'm not defending." Well, I mean,
support won't really be vocalized.
Well, that's true. But I'm saying like, this was more of like that time where it's like you say wild shit to get those views. Like, the
clout days.
Right. There are plenty of YouTubers that we know now that has changed over the years just because,
Yeah, man, the clout tokens.
People like, oh, you can't say that kind of stuff no more.
Yeah. Back then, like the wilder your titles, the better off it is. The wilder the things you said, the better it is. Like,
so that's why it's kind of like it's interesting how something like that comes up and it's like, wow, you said that back then. I don't fuck with you now.
Yeah, I mean,
again,
I feel like if you've been watching the podcast for that long, you kind of. Whatever you drew from it, you already liked or disliked.
Right.
So one comment like that wouldn't have killed it for you.
Right. So obviously they got a lot of backlash and they apologized, saying that they will do better. I understand that it's fucked up that it came out even though it came out a while ago. We've had many conversations that has been fucked up in this way. I can't imagine how disappointing that must have been to hear. Now that's a weird apology for me. But
they're just apologizing that people cared. It's like, I'm sorry you cared.
Kind of. That's what it kind of feels like. Again, I don't.
I mean,
I
don't think it's. I don't.
But the thing is, okay. So let's say if it was a shock culture thing where they was just saying wild shit so they can get ears and whatnot.
Just talking about sex, I feel like you're wild enough. They don't have to. They don't have to say anything particularly crazy. As long as you're talking about sex, you're gonna end up talking about some shit.
I mean, true, but I'm saying like in terms of, okay, this is kind of like a tangent or maybe a transition. People who said some wild shit back then, either 5 years ago, 15 years ago on social media, should they be ridiculed today for what they said back then.
Okay, well, understanding how clout works, it's benefiting them, but should it even be acknowledged like in the past example, after it's in a public space?
For example, have you heard about these James Gunn thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy guy?
What did he do?
He's made some like inappropriate jokes on Twitter way back before he was with Disney.
Okay, and they didn't screen him back then.
Maybe they did, and they didn't care. But that's the thing. That's the question.
No.
Whereas like it was up, and it's not like he hid them. I'm just trying to look while I'm looking for. So it's like some of them have been like, okay, so James Gunn tweets. No. So like he made like it was again one of those shocking tweets where it's like he was trying to be funny and whatnot.
What did he say?
Oh, I'm trying to look that up.
Yeah,
I need. Oh, some of them were like pedophilic.
Oh no.
But pedophilic.
No.
Yeah, I know. No, but not like. I'm trying to see. So. Let's see here. So he said the Hardy Boys and the mystery of what it feels like when Uncle Bernie fists me. He made that one in I can't even read that in 2008. I can't see that.
Oh, you want me to read them out?
Oh no, he made that in 2010. No, it's just so hard to read. Looks like 2010.
Okay, RT.
So he was retweeting somebody. I like it when little boys touch me in my silly place. Shh. And that was made in 2009. A new film, Jerk Loose, a small town where beating off is illegal and one high school kid jerks off in front of others to show how fun it is. Again, so there's a lot of these weird tweets that he made back in like 2010, 2011.
Right.
Around that time. And this is before Guardians. This is before Disney.
Right.
And, when he did Guardians and Disney, he was like, okay, cool. Great. He's a great director and whatnot.
Oh, he's a director.
He was a director of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. I don't really know specifics.
So he's the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. And, writer, director, same thing. So with these James Gunn tweets where he said that it was like that was a time, and you've seen those times where it's like you would say the foulest shit just so you can get some views or clicks or retweets, and that's where that place was.
I don't even think that's a smart thing to want attention for.
Right, but the question I'm posing is, should something you wrote years ago affect your current day job?
Not if it's already existed in a public space.
So you're saying because it already was viewed and this was all public and anybody could have looked this up, the fact that it took so long till now.
Yeah. It should have been screened.
That's what Dave Bautista, you know who Dave Bautista and the Drax played in Guardians of the Galaxy.
The green nigga. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where he's defending James Gunn. He's like, yo, this is just a hit piece from Republicans, really. Because they said this has been existed and no one had an issue with it, but someone actually comprised all of these tweets, went to Disney and said, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. I mean, coming from what he's saying, yeah, I wouldn't defend him, and I wouldn't even think about any political views behind it. I would just say that this movie's already out. These movies have already been out. Like, what are you gonna do at this point?
Right. Well, the thing is, he's been fired. He's not in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay. Now, for that reason, it's like I understand Disney's perspective because if anything pops up when it comes to a business, they're gonna immediately act on public interest.
Right.
So if the public is gonna view it as that, then just them being a business, that's what they're gonna do because they're primed to be soft. Like,
right.
Once you already have your millions, taking risks like that at that point, like just keeping somebody when they could be replaced, like they don't second guess it.
Not a lot of people really fault Disney. At the same time, it's kind of like there are still things in Disney's past that is not so good viewed in today's life.
But they're the ones paying the money.
Right. So, and that's kind of like, where's the double standard thing?
It's messed up, but they're the bosses.
I mean, what was that one movie that had the Chinese cats, or like the cats playing as Chinese? It was like this, I forgot.
We are Siamese, if you please. Talking about about Lady and the Tramp?
Maybe. I haven't seen a lot of any.
I think it was Lady and the Tramp. I remember there being Siamese cats, so that's what you're talking about. Those are the only Asian cats I remember. There may have been more.
Okay.
But those are the only ones I remember.
But, so now the thing is, Dave Bautista is now on the offensive, saying like, well, if he's fired, don't put me in the next movie. And the thing is, he's one of the main characters of the movie.
I mean, to defend the comments that he's made as one thing.
Well, they're not defending the comment. They're saying he understands
just the fact that they know already.
But he says this is not the person who he is today because you change over time. Think about your favorite social media people that has changed over time, and their content is just way different from 5 years ago.
Right.
Let alone all the way back to 2009.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what I definitely. It's cool that he would decide to take that step. Whether or not Disney wants to go along with it is up to them. But I mean, even if they decide to cut him, he's expendable.
No.
At the end of the day,
because it's Disney.
He is an actor. Yeah, he is an actor, and unfortunately, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of replacements. So if they replace the director, they can easily replace the actor. Like, that's not a problem. But the thing is, they did it in public interest. They didn't do it because the public wasn't okay. They didn't do it because they weren't okay with it. They did it because the public was made aware and they weren't okay with it.
Right.
So if the public is aware of why they got rid of, if the public is aware of why Disney let go of this director and let go of these actors, they'll be fine with whoever they get replaced with, because those people are going to be screened more vigorously. The point is, they should. You can't really, because again, they're so focused on public interest that they're not gonna think, okay, so what? He did this a few years ago and now y'all want to bring this shit. This been in there. We knew this and we did it. They're just trying to cover up. Because I'm pretty sure they're aware of all the things that were said. At some point in his time doing this, they were aware of the things that have been tweeted and they overlooked it. It only became a problem because the public was made aware of them all in bulk, and then they had a problem. So naturally, because they want their stocks to stay up and because they want people to mess with their movies, they want the optimum movie sale potential that they could possibly get with the investment that they made to Marvel, which I'm sure was massive, that they're going to do whatever the public wants to work to make sure that more of the public are going to keep messing with them. They are aware that they're going to be negatives to everything they do, and them getting rid of Bautista, some people mess with Bautista heavy. They're not going to watch the next one because he's not in it. Or some people mess with that director or his style heavy, and they're not going to mess with the next movie because he's not directing it. So there are going to be those people who are not going to want to see it, but they know that the majority are still going to mess with it. So as long as it benefits
as long as they still come on top,
as long as it benefits the majority, they're gonna drop whoever needs to be dropped.
That's what a corporation.
Now, whether or not it's fair as a regular human being, like you should. It's in a public space,
right?
It's not like these things are private and then they just came to light.
Yeah,
they were in a public space already, so you had access to it at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to avoid it, especially being Disney and being this whole. I don't know how you still pushing being child friendly when you making Marvel movies, but you still trying to be this like PG, like uppity company. You should have been screening people for crazy shit like this beforehand.
Right. Which should be the...
Especially since you have social media, you have people working on social media to check to actively.
With so many people being outed now because of their past tweets and or social, impact. If you hire somebody, the first thing you should do is be checking social medias,
especially
Facebook,
when
Twitter,
they're like
YouTube.
In that public space. Especially if you care enough, like you should have been checking. If you didn't check, that shows me you didn't care enough to begin with. So why should I worry myself with whether or not you do something after the fact? It shouldn't be consequential after the fact. If it wasn't screened in 2014 when people were viewing this shit, and these are not like low interest people, like these people have viewers, these people have an audience, so people could have heard and seen anything that we were saying and had a problem with it back then. So 4 years later, or however long later, with this Guardians of the Galaxy thing, that you decide to do something about it, like you already passed your time. They've already been embedded now. Like, he's still gonna get Guardians of the Galaxy money. You can cut him, but he's still gonna get residuals off of that. Yeah, like, you can't avoid that. He's still getting paid by you. So there's even like getting rid of him now is not gonna change anything, because you've already accepted what has happened in the past. And even if you didn't pay attention to it, you just going along with it still means you accepted it, because you didn't check. You didn't do your due diligence and checked ahead of time. So trying to fault them for it after the fact, it's a waste of time.
Okay. Well, he apologized, obviously. This was back in July. This is the tangent that we're on.
It ties in.
Yeah, it ties in where before we were talking about people, the two podcast women who talk about...
But wait, so what do you think about it then?
Basically along the lines where you're thinking. It's like, at the end of the day, Disney is this big entity, and they serve their
audience,
investors. They do serve their audience, but they also serve their investors, or the investors.
Well, their investors are also fueled by the audience.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're both. So It's kind of like whatever money trail they follow, they're gonna take the higher route. So at the end of the day, that's what happens. And even, now we hear like people are being banned on like social media platforms. At the end of the day, these social media platforms
allowed the videos to begin with.
Well, yeah, but that's a different thing, where it's like, for example, like things coming up on YouTube that are just not appropriate. There's just too much content being pushed into it.
And all these content creators have an audience though. So someone...
Well, it does. Someone would have alerted people them. Are allowing like, oh, this is funny. But then we all know there's sick people out there.
Yeah, but even in that audience, there's always going to be someone who's like, I don't fuck with this. I got to report this. There are people reporting videos that don't have any kind of negative.
Well, you see, that's what makes everything so slow. Where it's like people reporting videos that are just A, they don't agree with, B, politically
so it's like
fueled.
Backed up.
Yeah, maybe. Again,
there could be a definite backlog, because they have to screen all these videos before they ban them.
So
but they also do ban sometimes very quickly. So
that's the algorithm doing the work though. But the thing is, then innocent people get banned, and it's like, yo, why did my video get banned, or why am I banned? And then they have to physically review it, and then I'm pretty sure that backs up eventually. But that's just unfortunate things. Anywho. That was the whole James Gunn thing, tying back to the two podcast women talking about how being real black men, one person that I fucked, how, and that being, if something you said back in the past should affect you impactfully today. Like, hell, we even tie it into current days. Brett Kavanaugh, are you following any of the politics of Brett Kavanaugh?
That's the Supreme Court nominee that molested the chick from
not molested days. Like attempted rape.
He molested her because he didn't actually rape her. So anything within the lines. When I say molest, I don't mean it in a light sense.
Right.
But within those confines of everything that's not rape, but almost there.
Right. Actually, I shouldn't even bring that up, because this is it's on the same topic but a different topic, because
it's a different impact though. The intensity is a little different. The women were talking about rape. They just said some shit.
So forgive me for like trying to put these on an equal platform. Yeah, it's not on an equal platform, but I'm saying like.
And shout outs to me for knowing about that Brett Kavanaugh shit. I only saw that in the laundromat. Normally I wouldn't have cared. I would have known. You
get news picked up anywhere.
Yeah, they force fed me, so I was there.
They force fed you.
Yeah.
Well, shit. So yeah.
I mean, he. No, go on.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Brett Kavanaugh thing is like another episode on itself, and I don't even know if we want to get into politics.
It's not about politics. It's about human.
It's about politics.
If I talk about it, it's not about politics. It's about proper human behavior.
Again, yeah. And
fuck what your political affiliation is. Act like a just human being.
I agree, but there's a lot of things that are politically motivated on majority one side, but
right. But regardless of what the motivations are, you still did it.
Well,
you should be held accountable. We should continue from what we.
Well, the thing is, and again, I'm not defending him, but I'm saying that is.
No, but I understand there are interests involved. Like some people don't want him out for political because of his alignments and whatnot.
Right, and I'm saying that it's definitely sus that he. Again, I'm prefacing. I'm not defending him. That they don't want FBI interrogations. Because he said, he's already did FBI background checks like 6 times. And when Dr. Ford did her testimony, she was very poised, very like, this is what happened. Said there was no inconsistencies in her statement. And then when Brett Kavanaugh testified, he went on a screaming rant that is like a Trump-like rant, where it's like, the Democrats are out to get me. That's me, like, Democrats want me out for their own gain. And it's like, this was a different person that came into this. So it's like, you're already sus, and now you became more sus because of your tone and behavior. Yeah. And I saw that on CNN.
Like, you're not addressing the actual fact. You're trying to bring up.
No, yeah, he at no point has
did you or did you not do it?
Right, and of course he says he doesn't do it, but I'm saying,
of course he's gonna deny it.
And this is remember, that's just the first girl. There's been 3 other women who's came out and said, yeah, he did sexual misconduct.
He's been drunk a few times.
Right, and that's another thing where it's like in that case, well, not in the case, it's not a court case, but it's like when he said he gave in his books and whatnot, or he tried to use his calendar as look, I wasn't at that same party she was at. Again, and I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The calendar from 40 something years ago.
It's like, first of all, just because you write something in your calendar, when do you write down, I did this, and
when I was drunk.
Right. And actually do it. Like, just because I said there's a test due doesn't mean I passed and or did that test.
As a 15-year-old, like, come on now.
Yeah. So the thing is, I believe he first even said that, he's a good boy, that he doesn't drink. And then he came out, yes, I did drink in high school. So already that was like, done.
Ain't nobody good. Everybody drinking.
Right. The fact that you were even drinking in high school too is interesting.
Yeah, that's you're already prone to illogical behavior.
A yearbook where people say, he's known as it was like a couple of nicknames that referred to kegs or something.
He's been in the game. See, you drinking in high school, you're already prone to irrational behavior. There's not very many rational things that you're capable of doing when you're already dumb, and then you drinking. You even dumber.
I think this is the most interesting point. So in his high school yearbook, he writes about boofing, where he says, have you boofed yet? And he wrote that in his like paragraph. What is
boofing? Taking alcohol in your ass? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that is boofing.
That's what they call boofing back then in the white neighborhoods.
Apparently,
in the hood, boofing was.
I knew it was a thing. And again, according to Urban Dictionary, boofing. And again, this is not like, someone just made this new entry. Someone made an entry in May 5th, 2009.
No, boofing been a thing, but boofing is different in the hood though. Boofing is when you take drugs up your booty hole.
No, same, yeah. The act of ingesting drugs into the anus for a longer trip most often occurs at disco biscuits, shows by spun out kids, ketamine, sorry. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was so spun out at the disco biscuits after we were boofing that ketamine.
That's a wild sentence.
Yeah, the thing is like
structure is so crazy.
When they testified him, or like when they were talking to him, it's like, so you put in your yearbook that, boofing, what is boofing? And he said flatulence relates to flatulence. And I'm like,
that's pooping.
That's so I'm like, hey, that's you know how like, okay, I'm gonna be unbiased and hear both sides. I'm already like she said her side. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I have your side. And I'm gonna go hear your side. And when the behavior and the anger that came out of him, seeing that like, we can actually link up some shit from your high school like documents
as to your behavior,
and your behavior is like, hey, this is like classic like
douchebag.
Well, not classic douchebag, but I'm saying like classic like you feel the walls cornering in, so now you're just starting to be erratic, like, oh, I didn't do it, fuck you.
Yeah, cat in the corner.
And remember, this guy's supposed to be a Supreme Court judge. The fact that he's taking a Supreme Court judge is supposed to be judging
that just proves
fairly.
One thing to me: humans.
Right.
You can be whatever profession you want to be. At the end of the day, you're still a human. So I don't put any kind of behavior past you, no matter what you are. You can be a judge. Look at the president.
Yeah.
So you can be a judge. You can be whoever you want to be. At the end of the day, I'm not going to think of you any more than just a human. Your behaviors, your actions, what your potential is human. Your accomplishments do not supersede your potential as a human. You're still capable of doing basic human shit no matter what your job is.
Right. So, yeah, how is he supposed to judge fairly? And he came out today saying the Democrats are out to get me. I'm like, why do people want to?
Because his job is to judge others, not to judge himself.
Right. So that's why it's kind of like, whatever credibleness I had of this guy is completely
how you choose to argue definitely counters your arguments. Like, you can make the best points, but if you're being immature in your argument, people don't care. Well, like, you can make these
probably will get
even if he was making valid points. Right. You're saying he made horrible points, not even points.
He didn't really make a lot of points,
right? So even if he made valid points, if he was still approaching it like that, people still wouldn't care. Like, because you're being too emotionally driven when you're supposed to be stating what you say are the facts. Mm-hmm. If you're stating what you say are the facts, there's no reason for you to be emotionally charged about it. Especially if you feel like, or if you know you're in the right. You should be completely nonchalant.
Right. Actually, I think this is an interesting side note. Mm-hmm. That it's kind of like, there's this whole notion, and I think we did talk about this before, where it's like, some people kind of like always believes the victim or always believes the woman. And I don't think that's the right approach. I might get some slack for it, but I do understand that notion where everybody needs to get their defense out. And, you know, she's making an accusation. He needs to defend his point. Because unfortunately, there are people who do false accusations. Mm-hmm. And then, again, not to the point of like 50-50. No, I'm talking like 80-20.
It's a lot.
You know, yes, more times the victim is right. But that still doesn't mean that 20% should get shunned out. And I'm saying this based on my own accusations. My first ex-girlfriend started doing rumors about me, how I raped her.
Right.
And I am not that person.
Right.
Like, when I found out that she was starting to spread that rumor, I was fucking furious. But my friends, who was her friends, sorted that out for me.
Right, they validated it.
Because I didn't want to like see her at all.
Right.
And
for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. And to this day, I thank those people who have sorted that out and have told me that, yo, she's starting to say some crazy shit. And again, if you know me as a person and you just know that I would never do that. Like, I'll say some like straight shit. Like, during that relationship, I was so like, yo, am I hurting you? Like, while we were getting physical, I was like, am I hurting you? Is this okay? And legit, she would say like, well, yeah, this is fine because you're my boyfriend. I'm like, okay, getting comfortable and whatnot. And then, you know, if there was like some like hesitation or ow, and I would like completely get off of her.
Right.
It's like, yeah, and you know, that's why it made me so more angrier when I heard that she started to say some shit.
Right, because you're trying to be so meticulous in treating things appropriately.
Right. Because, you know, I for her comfort.
Right.
And, you know, not just
as it should be. As it should be.
I'm always for her comfort.
Niggas take note.
But it's like to find that out, that just made me so angry. And it's like, that's why it's like when people's like, when I hear certain people say like, always believe her or always believe the victim, I'm like, healthy skepticism is okay. Like, I can't always take one person's side.
It's so hard to know.
I need to hear another person's side.
Even then, it's
I
so
need to judge
hard
for myself.
to know
Well, yeah, because I wasn't there.
Because what were you saying about that one case too, about the lady in Alaska?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good transition. Well, all these are horrible transitions because
transition from this situation talking about what you're talking about.
I can pull that up. Whereas like
you're mentioning in August that lady ordered
Alaska man pleads guilty to assaulting a woman and gets a pass.
Right, because
that's what CNN says.
Apparently, according to the situation, while he's pulling it up, let me say what I know about it. So apparently, she ordered a cab, right?
Yeah,
and he was.
I have it up, so I'm just gonna read what I see here.
What do you think? I was trying to summarize it because it looked like it was going to be a whole thing. Oh,
so there's this guy. Yeah, okay. This guy named. Oh man, they won't tell me the name straight out. I gotta look for it. Andrew Grenick.
Middle name Sicko.
Basically. Oh no, that's the prosecutor's name. Okay.
Oh no, take that back. I take that back.
No, he's a sicko too because he said okay.
You're a little less sick, but still sicko.
No, you're still kind of sick. Justin Schneider,
aka psychopath.
There you go, Justin Schneider, accused of kidnapping and assaulting a woman on August 15th, 2017. So this was a year ago, strangling her until she lost consciousness and then masturbating on her, and that's where the court
on her. There was jizz on her. He couldn't dodge it.
Granick, who is the prosecutor, said that he had lost his job as an air traffic controller for the federal government as a result of the case, and he said that was a life sentence enough.
Go work at McDonald's. Niggas do it every day. Bitch.
But I'm saying the prosecutor was saying like, well, he already experienced his fair. I know the face that you're looking at. It's the same face.
No, I'm waiting for you to finish. I'm giving you a chance to say it so I can blast on this phone.
So the police was told that she was at a gas station when he offered to give her a ride.
Also, it wasn't even a cab.
No. So apparently he offered her to give her a ride. The woman was attempting to get her boyfriend to get to her boyfriend's home, and she accepted it.
Damn. Son.
Schneider then drove the victim to another location and attacked her at a dead end. And this is when Schneider told the victim that while choking her, he will kill her. And then she lost consciousness while strangling her, and she woke up to him masturbating over her, and the man told her that she wasn't really going to kill her, that she needed to believe she was going to die so he could be sexually fulfilled. And that's in quotes. The victim recorded the plate number, and then he drove off and went to work after. Now, where the outrage comes is that he's actually taken the guilty plea, but will serve no jail time. And because the Schneider's prosecutor Grenick, he was charged.
Who definitely needs a first place spot in hell. Like they need you down there. They need to finesse some people out of hell to get them to heaven because you are amazing.
He was charged with 4 felonies, including kidnapping and assault, and pleaded guilty to a single felony assault charge in the second degree in exchange for a sentence of 2 years with 1 suspended plus 3 years probation. Schneider received credit for time while wearing an ankle monitor and living with his wife and 2 children. So because he was because it takes time to process the case and then actually go to court. Because he was wearing that ankle monitor for so long and has been good to that ankle monitor, they credited him. It was like, well, we were going to charge you with this anyways, but because you were already at home with this ankle monitor, it's like you were serving time anyways.
3 years in his house. This is like sending a kid to time out in their room with their computer, their video games, their phone. Like, you're not punishing him.
So now his prosecutor says, this will never happen again. And then Schneider says, I would just like to emphasize how grateful I am for this process.
Without apologizing.
Right. At no point apologizes to the victim.
No sympathy shown.
No sympathy. He says, it has given me a year to really work on myself and become a better person.
He was only on probation for a year?
Less than it, yeah.
So this is exactly like sending a kid to timeout with their phone, their computer, and their games. Like they're not spending any time and they're having all the things that they already enjoy. Right.
So it says, this time has been made, is getting me to be a better husband, a better father, and I'm very eager to continue that journey. And they accepted his plea deal.
How about a better human being?
And so that the victim was not in court. Granted, said he tried to tell her about the hearing but could not reach her. So the prosecutor claims that he tried to tell her about the hearing but couldn't reach her. And then he's like, why would you want to face him in court? And then if this shit happened while you were there and seeing your attacker fucking
getting no the time, lightest sentence known to man,
the lightest sentence for a guilty plea, that guilty means you
attempted murder. Okay, we're not even gonna talk about what he was charged for because he wasn't even charged for this shit. But from the looks of things, attempted murder, kidnap, and sexual molestation.
So, and the prosecutor also says, but I would like the gentleman to be on the notice that this is his one pass.
Oh, assault. Sorry.
Yeah,
his one pass. Like he needed. Yeah, like he needed a pass to begin with.
And then he says it's not really a pass, but given the conduct, one might consider that it is. The fact that he fucking calls this a pass to assault someone.
He shouldn't have even mentioned that word to begin with. Because of what happened.
Like the backlash was so bad that they had her issue, like his office had her issue a statement and say, like the judge had to issue a statement as well as like, yo, this is why it happened. Because in accordance to all these Alaskan laws, they technically couldn't prosecute him. I haven't read up on it, but the fact that this guy gets to walk free is the reason why you see women not come forward.
Yeah, because this is a guilty plea. And this is a guilty plea. This is not something that got pushed under the rug. This was acknowledged as truthful because he pled guilty. Once you plead guilty, you're already accepting all the backlash. So you accepted this as a guilty plea. So you said you did this. You admitted to it. You did not deny it. Right? Or as much as you denied it, you eventually admitted to it. And at the end of all of this, you got off. You got off. There's no light. You were at home for a year. You got off. Easy. And for all the things that she did, come on now. You kidnapped someone, strangled. Like, you know how traumatizing that would have been?
Yeah. And she doesn't get shit. She doesn't get no...
You know how traumatizing it is to know that you were almost killed only to wake up to someone doing sexual to you that you didn't sign up for? That's traumatic, bro.
Yeah.
Even as, like, thinking about it in any situation, even just the almost being killed part is traumatic.
First of all, just going back, the fact that, okay, the original sentence was between 5 and 99 years in prison. And that deal, the deal was if he pleaded to guilty to one count of his 3 counts of second degree felony assault. So they took out kidnapping, they took out sexual assault, they took out harassment in exchange just for one count of felony assault.
And they took out attempted murder.
Basically.
Because that should have been in there.
And then you see after that, so then it went from 5 to 99 years in prison to, if you take this deal, we'll sentence you to 2 years in prison with 1 year of suspension. But because he was under house arrest for that year, he will not serve additional prison time because it was like he was already in the system.
And I think the reason why I keep emphasizing this attempted murder thing, because he's not a surgeon. He's not a doctor.
Yeah.
He's not in the medical field. So he's not fully aware of how long it takes for someone to either be 1, knocked unconscious, or 2, killed. Mm-hmm. So there's a fine line between how long he was strangling her. He could very well have killed her.
Yeah.
And the simple fact that he said he was gonna kill her.
Yeah. You basically...
Like, you're kind of not helping your situation with that attempted murder. And the fact that they swept that under the rug, like,
it's really fucked up.
Like, it's crazy to think that, yes, there are a lot of people who do lie just for publicity and but then there are people who have no reason to. Like, they really are afraid, I already understood it, but like, it was really reinforced because, like, you have to understand trauma. Like, it's not something that a lot of people are easy to, like, immediately deal with. Like, you have to understand that when some people take a long time to get involved in situations, it's because they were traumatized. They didn't want to even think about it. But a lot of the times when people do talk about it is because it's becoming a situation where if they don't talk about it, that person wins. And you can't allow somebody who did something like that to win. So going back to the situation with that Supreme Court nominee, she did it, or she's doing it because he's not supposed to be winning with that kind of behavior. Who knows what he's done in that time that people haven't talked about or people haven't come out about yet. You get what I'm saying? So he should be held accountable for all of those things, because just because he was younger doesn't mean that he's exempt from the legal system. Doesn't mean that what he did wasn't incorrect. But going back to what we were mentioning before about should people be scrutinized for saying things in a public space? No. Like, they shouldn't be scrutinized if they already got accepted by whatever entity is accepting them. Like in Disney's case, like you shouldn't be scrutinizing somebody for saying, like, granted what he said was crazy, but it was in a public space. It's not something that was private that came out. Like, it was in a public space.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is, in terms of, I'm still like reading up on this a little more, but in terms of fucking this bitch, this basically monster.
The bitch in this situation is not the chick. It's
Justin Schneider. And this is like, everybody should be on the same side of this is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, like, clearly the legal system isn't. Then
right. But I'm saying like if you don't think this guy should not serve time, there's something really wrong with you. Like, whatever, like, legally, legally he didn't, like, no. Yeah, I don't even care if you're studying to be a lawyer. Like, it's still screwed in prison.
This is why I kind of, like, I think about it and it's like, everybody needs their professions, but it would suck to be a lawyer, bro. Like, especially in a situation where you have to, like, criminal law. I would hate to be a criminal lawyer. Yeah. Knowing that I'm defending, like, if I'm in a situation where I have to defend someone who is clearly guilty, I'll quit. This bar me.
But like, take me away. Everybody needs to be defended.
Not by me. I would have lost my job.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, I would have lost my job.
I saw on the kidnapping, so they couldn't get him on the kidnapping, or like they threw away the kidnapping. He
clearly kidnapped
because kidnapping, according to Alaska law, kidnapping requires the victim to be restrained or moved against his or her will.
She was strangled.
Under these circumstances, the criminal charge of kidnapping, as defined under Alaska law, could not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
She was strangled, and for him to do that, he would have to have been holding her down.
The sex crime, despite this limitation, the prosecutor felt Mr. Schneider needed sex offender treatment. The only way to achieve that result is to have Mr. Schneider agree to the probation conditions. Thus, the prosecutor requires Mr. Schneider to undergo sex offender treatment and comply with other monitoring conditions and condition of the plea agreement. They couldn't get. Okay, sorry. I read where they talk about the sex crime. So in terms of the sex crime, apparently jacking off to somebody in Alaska is not considered a sex crime.
Jacking off on someone.
Yeah, it's not considered
because that's not crime. To someone. That's on someone. Anybody jacks off to somebody else. It's called porn.
Okay, right here under Alaska law, even Schneider's masturbating on his victim categorized as a sex crime.
Active word is on. Like
people not. I do these like laughters, but only because it's on. It's ridiculous. It is very.
He jacked off on her. There was semen on her. Okay, I hope y'all understand that. Like that sexual fluids that doesn't come out under other circumstances.
Yeah, we get it.
No, yeah, they have to.
They have to get it. So it's like.
This is the legal system.
This was the clear in Alaska.
No, this is the legal system
in general.
Well, I mean, because they're extension of the United States legal system.
Well, yeah,
this is the legal system. People have gotten off for dumb shit too. So this is not just one.
No. Every other state has their own shit.
Yeah, this is that
legal
bullshit.
System, but like, it's kind of like this makes you feel like vigilante should be a thing again.
That opens up a slippery slope, though.
It does, again,
because then everybody's gonna feel like they're obligated.
I'm not suggesting someone should be a vigilante.
Don't go ahead and take the law into
but
your
it kind of
own
like urges people to like, well, if the justice system isn't gonna prosecute this guy, some guy will. Some person will.
Yeah, he should have been castrated.
Because the justice system has failed a victim. An obvious
victim.
There's like victim. It was 100%
proven victim.
Everybody and their mama said this guy was guilty. He said he was guilty.
He said he was guilty. At the end of the day, even if everybody and the mom said it,
I fucking did it, and I'm walking away free.
1 year probation is walking away free. I don't care who wants to say, oh, he got a year probation. 1 year probation is walking away free.
Yeah,
and they didn't even take away his they didn't even add status that would prevent him from getting other jobs.
First of all, simply him just still said, being in his home.
Matter of fact, if this case wasn't publicized, he would be able to get whatever other job he wanted to because he didn't have a sex offender criminal record. Mm-hmm. So he could still freely go other places and get other jobs. If all you have is an assault charge, you can get a job. You can get a job with an assault charge. An assault charge is not extreme when it comes to getting a job. He could have gotten another job. So what? He lost a government job. Government jobs are the only ones here.
But you see, losing a government job, it was enough.
It was enough.
It was a fucking enough.
Apparently.
You know, and boo-hoo, I get to be a father to my 2 kids. The fact that his
and
kids
my
wasn't
wife
even
is still here.
My wife's still stuck with him. Kids were still there.
And his wife's still stuck with him.
Yeah.
I understand the kids. They're stuck with him. That's their dad. So somehow, some way, unfortunately, they're stuck with him. But his wife could have been out.
If you are found guilty in that kind of case of strangling and raping, like,
it wasn't pedophilia. Well, it wasn't pedophilia though.
Well, I know
it was pedophilia. Then take everything away.
Right, but the fact that you're still living with your kids under house arrest.
Well, where was he gonna go? Well, what house was he gonna stay at? The fact that they gave him house arrest was a red flag. That's what I'm saying. Like they shouldn't even give him house arrest. He should have been isolated from everybody.
It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. So
it is.
John Skidmore and what was his prosecutor name?
We get heavy, guys. We don't just talk about, pleasant shit. We get heavy.
But just remember this attacker. Remember this monster. Remember this person.
One of many.
You're right. Justin Schneider, who lives in Alaska, and he's gonna be known for that guy now.
Yeah, he's the judge.
Justin Schneider is the attacker.
Justin
Schneider.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. I thought you said Justice.
Oh no, Justin
Schneider. Oh, Justin Schneider. Cool. There you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the fucking prosecutor's name because it's kind of like. Prosecutor and the judge was like also like, okay, well, this happened. Judge Michael Corey. So Judge Michael Corey was the judge in that case, and I'm trying to find.
This is America. Don't get you slipping up.
Yeah, so it's not really a good note, but people will forever immortalize. Sorry, not immortalize.
We did say sometimes you get passionate, right? Like
infamous name of Justin Schneider, along with the name of Brock Turner.
my man's Bobby got passionate. He was about this.
No, because it's again going back to everything we talked about with it's one thing, like, okay, those women did say some wild shit.
Yeah, but they're looked at in the same.
Okay,
and somebody getting off for something crazier.
James Gunn did say some weird pedophilic tweets.
Yes, most certainly.
And you know what?
That should
Disney
not be overlooked. Definitely,
right.
Still, yeah.
Right, and sure, like my ex,
right,
was talked about like spreading that rumor, and I have no hate for her today. If she ever sees this, I have no hate for her today.
Right.
It's fucked up what you did or what you thought you were doing or about to do, but I have no hate for you. But in terms of the whole Brett Kavanaugh and this Justin Schneider, people, like, especially in the Brett Kavanaugh case where it's like, oh, why didn't she come forward sooner? Well, just look at Justin Schneider. Just look at this case.
Yeah, she came forward like the next month.
Within the month.
Oh, I guess she came in earlier, but it started the whole case the next month. Yeah.
She recorded the license plate.
She was early with it.
And he was arrested from his job. At his job.
She probably had the semen samples on her clothes. No, I'm saying like that's how.
Oh, that's how everything ties together.
That's how soon. No, I'm saying that's how fast she could have approached the situation.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying it's a joke. I'm just saying like it's dead ass.
But the fact that she does come forward and still did not receive her proper justice makes you wonder, or it makes me wonder, is like how we're supposed to protect these women. How we're supposed to, like, people say, oh, come forward. They come forward, but they get no justice. So what do? They hide it. They say, oh, okay, maybe it was my fault.
And then when they finally decide to come out, like, people scrutinize them again.
Right. But it's like, why didn't you
come out sooner? Not, again, like he said, not all situations are the same. They're right. Right. But in the cases that they are right, you never know, and no one gives them the benefit of the doubt, really.
If you think you have been in any inappropriate situation,
like seriously, like you were questioning whether or not you were either going to be raped or if you were raped,
you should come forward. And I'm not saying like, oh, come forward. No, like you should come forward. I know that
make it
in the immediate time, it will be stressful and traumatizing, but it's better than leaving it to yourself to deal with.
Yeah.
It's best,
especially if it's causing you actual like mental anguish.
Right. And there are times where it doesn't cause you mental anguish now, but it will cause it in the future.
The minute you think about it, it's going to cause you problems. Yeah.
So, and again, that's unfortunately, a male saying this, and I have no idea how. It's me.
It's hard
trying
to know how they think.
Yeah,
it's how they feel about it. It's difficult because we don't think the same. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I'm saying like also our statuses are two different things. It's like, yeah, we can say it right. It's easy to say. I feel like being males is easier.
Yeah, it's easier to say it as a guy because we don't have either one. We don't have the same experiences. We don't have the same fears, and two, well, I think as a when it depends.
I'm not saying we don't have. It depends
on when it happens to us. Like,
well, yeah, but again, I'm not saying we don't have struggles. But I'm saying in terms of society, in terms of like history, being a female sucks.
Yeah. It's getting progressively better, but
of course, and that's the shining light in all this darkness, where it is getting better, but there's still so much to be done in women's rights, basic rights.
At the end of the day, it really comes with how you translate understandings.
Everybody,
like people just don't basic understandings people can't grasp. Like we talked about it the last time about the wages, for example, how simple a concept it is and how hard it is for people to grasp when it's so simple. It's just about understanding simple concepts.
Yeah.
Like it's simple concepts that people just refuse to want to grasp, and they're so simple.
Yeah. So I think this is a unfortunate but somber ending to end this one, and whatever medium we put this on, I want to include like links to some help, you know, to either rape lines or someone who you can call, or even, you know, something. I'll look for something to try to include to whatever medium we put this on.
So feel free to check the description
of anything,
for those links,
whatever we put this on.
Yeah, there's always going to be a description.
And if you ever need to talk to other people, please reach out to those people with anything. If you are experiencing or have experienced anything, hopefully not as the case that we just talked about. So, I'm Bobby.
It's your boy Mo.
And be safe.
Take care.